2, 1. Kia ora, no mai, hoki mai. Welcome back to another episode of the Fitzone Files. Today in the Fitzone studio we have Lenny Brookie, myself, and Emma Brookie, me wife, wifey, and business partner, and lots of other things. Okay, so do a podcast today on exactly this date, the 10th of May, in 6 years? 2016.
Yeah.
10th of May 2016 is when we took over and opened for the first time. Fitzone was already a thing, but when we took over, it was the first time.
Yeah. So 6 years of our Fitzone business, right?
Of our version of Fitzone, yes, correct. 6 years, all right. So we thought we'd just try and go back in time. People think I've got a bad memory, but if you've seen the video last week, I've actually got a pretty good one.
You remember the important thing.
Most of the important things, yes. So do you want to start us off? What do you remember from that day or taking over or even leading up to it?
Yeah, I mean, it was such a blur. I think leading up to it was super fun, but as it got like closer and closer, it was kind of like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? Like, are we actually doing this? Like, is this real life? Like, it was just really strange. It was a really strange feeling. I think quitting my job and like going down that direction, it was like all kind of happening, so it was fine. Like, it felt okay. But then as it got closer and closer to opening the doors and it being like more of a representation of me, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. It was really scary.
Yeah, it was scary, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't think it was scary like leading up because we were so busy like putting all the things in place. But then it got to it and it was like, this is really scary.
It's real.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you probably got like scared at a different time. Like yours was probably like dealing with the bank and stuff like that. Yours was probably a bit more scary then, but I was more scary like in the gym, like doing the stuff.
The scariest moment was going to pay people for the first time.
I remember that so vividly, opening the doors and being like, well, I don't care if I don't get paid and I don't care if you don't get paid, but we had brought on Hums to help us out with the staffing, and how are we going to pay Hums this week?
Yeah, we paid him. I think we paid him. Pretty sure we did. Probably not for every hour, so I appreciate that. Because I still remember, because we had that old cafe when you walked in, and we bought that off Gabs and, is it Gabs and others had it together, however that worked. And they had all that flooring there. And so the day before, Hums and I were out there.
Scrubbing it.
No, ripping it up. Moving the desk. Like we had to move it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So should we talk about the desk situation?
The desk situation?
The desk.
Yeah? What happened?
Almost a divorce.
Was it over that?
Yeah.
What happened? Because I can't even remember.
Well, I think like honestly, it wasn't even about the desk and like in general. I think it was about just what I wanted versus what you wanted. But I wanted it really far forward. You wanted it sort of like in the mid range. And I don't know if it was just our emotions really high or we were very stressed out. But
mine was purely from as it always is, that's more work.
I think that was like one of our like first ever business like breaking points all over this reception desk that I wanted really far forward and Lenny wanted it maybe 2 meters backward.
No, I remember it now vividly because where the power was coming into the desk, it was coming, it came through the wall into the desk. So it was quite hard to like move that desk right to the front.
Yeah.
So I thought, what if we just swung it?
Yeah.
On its pivot it.
Yeah.
And it's still good because you get it, but then, it's kind of half pie. I just didn't want to have to redo all the electrical work.
Do more, yeah. And so I felt really strongly about it, and I feel like I remember vividly getting quite worked up about it, and it was just one of those first moments that we had. I don't think we had ever had a moment like that before the desk because everything was just going so fast, but up until the desk, that was just our first me versus you moment. Okay. And I remember it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because it was a matter of meters. Like, what was the different, it was just such a small thing. In your mind. But it was such a it turned into this huge thing.
It's just the power, really.
Honestly, it was like,
There's a few things that come into from my perspective. Is that we'd
don't
moved a
care.
lot of stuff. We'd moved
I
a lot
don't
of stuff in
care.
that time.
Okay.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
And it was one extra thing that needed like a Sparky to come and do.
Yeah, so there was lots of stuff leading up to it that wasn't like at my level in terms of like opening and, this is, like our journey for Fitzone and it's starting today. We couldn't make that happen. But I think that was just one of the things I really remember, that desk situation, because it was like, why was it such a big deal? But
Desk
it just was.
Okay.
I was like, wow, that was like the first.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, I do remember that now.
And we weren't even married. So I was like, and we almost got a divorce, but we actually weren't married. So that's funny too.
Yeah, I guess. So your Hums and I ripped up all the flooring and that was a hectic job too.
We moved all the cardio like forward. Like it was just a huge job for you guys.
Oh, but it wasn't turfed at the start. It was just cobbles.
Yeah.
Random cobbles.
We had no money for turf.
So we done a lot of. So we had obviously Hums, and then also my family, or whānau, helping as well. And then your parents were there. Your
My mum was.
She helped clean. Our mum's cleaned. There was a lot to clean.
Gab was on the paintbrush.
Gab was on the paintbrush. Yeah. Rest of the fam was in there, and then Carl
was helping you move the treadmills.
Move the treadmills and stuff. No, it was like a full effort, and we had that weekend because it's an
48 hours.
It was already an operating business, so we're shut for the weekend, and we're
48 hours. Yeah.
Because my thing was like, hey, we just carry on, we just do little things at a time.
And I was not on.
You were like, no, we need to make a splash, which is probably the right thing.
Oh,
what?
There it is, guys.
What?
There it is.
Of course, it's
6 years
thing.
later. 6 years later,
it was
the right thing.
It was just harder. And that's,
It was hard.
What do you say to that? Easier, not better.
Yeah.
Oh, better, not easier. Well, what I was thinking was easier, but not better. But yeah. Cool. I'm trying to think what else I remember. So we worked all night, till about 2 a.m. or whatever, 3 a.m. vacuuming, finishing touches, all little jobs. And then we opened again because it used to be staffed from 5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So we were there. Boom.
Yeah, we weren't 24 hour.
No, we're back there at 5 a.m. to let everyone in. And people were walking in going, what has happened?
I know.
What has happened? You moved my cheese.
I know. Everyone was probably like half like, oh, this looks cool. Half like, where did my thing go? Like, I liked this there. And, but, they were probably like, because you get a bit of that.
Change is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can remember that. I can remember people's faces like they slowly would walk in slowly because the reception desk was tucked away, but now it was at the forefront. So when you walked in, great desk placement.
Yeah.
When you walked in, you're like, boom, hello.
It's a bit different because my vision for it wasn't just like I didn't want the desk forward. It meant more than that.
No.
It meant more than that. I wanted Fitzone to be somewhere where it wasn't like, oh, where am I? Like, I'm not sure. Yeah. Like, I wanted to be
quite tucked away.
Right at the front to acknowledge members coming in straight away to be like, cool, this is where you are. There's no second guessing. I want you to feel comfortable straight away. Not like, oh, what's going on there? It's like, this is a gym. I'm welcoming you. I'm like, straight away. I want you to know that I see you and I'm here to help. That's what it meant. So it was like a lot behind it, but anyway, the desk placement was very important.
A lot of work, and I think I was also trying to get away with ripping up the floor, possibly. So there's a couple of things that had to happen for that desk to move right to the front.
Yeah, it was. I've remembered, to be honest,
some big things.
And I feel like you can probably agree that the things that you thought were big in order to move the desk ended up being like 20 minutes of work. I feel like it was you just wanted to avoid that 20 minutes. That's all.
Well,
right?
not all of it's 20. It's hard.
Yeah, and it was a heavy desk.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of logistics. Analyze it and that stuff.
But we'll move on from the desk.
Okay. What else can you remember? Anything else? It was a good vibe though. It was cool. It was funky.
Being excited, like as it was happening. Like I was very anxious, like before it happened, but as it was happening and people started coming in, it was exciting.
Cool. All right. That was the first bit. Second bit is So what is your biggest or our biggest lesson so far after 6 years in the business?
don't know. I think my biggest lesson is like you're just not going to please everyone. So you have to kind of stay true to yourself and what you would want for your business, because at the end of the day, it's kind of a reflection of you and what you love. And if you're passionate about it, then you're going to go hard for it. So you can't always like swing to everyone's way of wanting it, because then it starts to compromise, I guess, your integrity and what you love about it. And then you'll start to not enjoy the process. I think it's really important to just be like, well, I love it and I'm going to go hard for this and this way. And because, you know, then if I'm passionate about it, I'm going to drive it home. Do you know what I mean? But if you sort of try and swing it one way or the other to please other people, then it ends up not being your full, you know, vision and passion for it. So it ends up kind of dwindling out in the end, because obviously you don't feel that way about it. So at the start, it was really hard because, you know, people didn't like the change, or, you know, there were some people who preferred it a different way. And so, you know, we were trying to be sensitive to that. But at the end of the day, we had to go with the vision that we had for it going forward, because otherwise, you know, I would have lasted 5 seconds if I was just trying to cater to other people's, you know, passions and what they wanted rather than just ours or how we saw it going.
All right. So what would you say? So what is that? So just to do what you...
Yeah, try not to...
Don't please everyone.
Yeah, okay. Try not to please everyone. And because you're never going to please, like, everyone, right? No. I mean, you might please a few people on the journey to, you know, like doing that, but at the end of the day, you compromise, like, your own happiness behind it.
Okay. Nice. Anything else?
What's your one?
Got any more?
No, what's your one?
Yeah, it's probably something along those lines, because I think also be mindful of taking advice from people who aren't doing it. Yeah. Out there doing it, because you get, I guess we were young then, I'm not sure if we're still classed as young, but at the time, and it's from a good place, but people have a lot of advice for you. Or advice, and sometimes it's like mainly like what you're doing wrong. So it's just knowing who to listen to in those moments and who you trust, and backing yourself. So it's probably, I mean, there's a lot of people who give you advice who aren't doing it.
And I also think there's a lot to be said around doing it wrong for yourself as well.
To learn,
rather than like
learning
someone telling you not to do it wrong and then you not really getting that full lesson behind it.
Yes.
I thought yours would be way more financial.
Why?
Your lesson.
Oh, yeah, there's that too.
But yeah.
Yeah, be prepared, be ready. Another big lesson is to do financial forecasting. You should do that. So doing that. Cool, that's good. Any other lessons? Not really.
I mean, heaps, but that's my one.
The main one?
Yeah.
It is noise from other people that does actually affect you probably the most for some people.
Yeah, and it takes so long to train that out of you.
Yeah, for you to like be like they can think that if they want to.
And then fine. Not even every day is you've got it. Like once you feel like, oh yeah, I've got it. I can't hear the noise. Can't hear the good things. I can't hear the bad things. You're like, yeah, I've got it down. Then there'll just be one day where you really hear it and you go home. But I think the best part about it is doing it with someone else, because then you can talk to them about the noise and they can talk to you and you're in the same boat, and then you just have that kind of...
You can bounce it off. And then
and then you can get rid of it really quickly.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. What else did I have down here? Oh, what have we learnt from each other? So what have you learnt from me? What have I learnt from you?
I think the biggest thing that I've probably learnt from you is like, which is so funny when I think about it, but just you have to start. You have to do it. You can't wait till you have all the money, or you can't wait till it looks right, or you can't wait till you have the perfect situation, or you can't wait till it's ready, because it never will be. You'll never have all the money. You'll never have the perfect footprint for something. You'll never have it bang on perfect the way that you want it. You just have to open the doors and start. And then if something's not 100%, then we come back next day and make it better. And then you figure out what you don't like about it, and then you come back and you do it again. And the reason I say that it's weird, because I learned that from you, is because I just preach that so much with the ladies that come into the gym, or, you know, like everyone. I'm like, don't wait till Monday to start. Don't wait till you've lost a bit of weight before you come into the gym to start. Start today. And it's not going to be the most mind-blowing, perfect workout. It's going to be shitty. And then you come back tomorrow and you do a better one, and then you come back the next day and you do it even a little bit better than that. But you don't wait till you're in a perfect position, or you don't wait till there's heaps of time you've got it up your sleeve, because you never will. You have to just start when you can and just make little steps to get it better. Like, I would have never thought back then when we opened, I was just like, I'm not 100% happy with this situation, like how this looks, is representing me and how I feel about fitness. Like, I feel like I wanted it to be this, you know, cosmetically vibrant, safe space where people could come and feel completely comfortable and have that really great first exercise experience. And I didn't feel like it was that enough. Like, it wasn't much of a change from the original, you know, like I wanted it a little bit different, you know, I wanted it that different feel as soon as you walked in, and it wasn't. But what I learned from you so much was that we just needed to start. We just needed to put our first foot forward, and then tomorrow we'll put the next foot forward, and then we'll just keep putting feet forward. And we did, like, it, we really did, because now when you walk into one of our gyms, it's like, that's it. That's how I imagined it being, but it wasn't like that at the start. No. And it never was gonna be, because we never, you know, like, we're not gonna start a business with, you know, $100,000 up our sleeves. That was never gonna happen. We had to build it. We had to get there. And so I still struggle with that, like, even 2 years, 3 years into the business, when we wanted to go and do things, if we like wanted to start this like challenge via the app or whatever, you would just whop it out, and I'd be like, whoa, we're not ready. Like, it's not perfect. It's not how it is. Like, the challenge, and, you know, even opening 24 hours, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, this is not perfect yet. We need to wait. And you would be like, no, we'll just do it. We'll do it, and then we can figure out what's wrong with it, and then we can change it. And I guess that's kind of how we sort of operate now when we want to do things. And we don't wait too long. We give it everything we can for the time that we have, and then
get it happening.
We get it out there, and then we get feedback, and we change and make it more like our thing. But that was the one thing that gave me the most anxiety at the start, like you wanting to just get something out there, and me being like, no, let's wait till it's perfect. So I feel like now I'm a bit better with, like, we've just got to do something, you know. If we want to do it, let's do it.
Do it.
And then, you know, it might not be perfect the first time, and we'll figure it out, because, like I said, there's something to be said for getting it wrong as well. If you never get it out there, then you're never going to know.
We're never going to be right or wrong.
Yeah, you're never going to know what you like about it and what you don't. But you're planning on trying to make it perfect without actually, you know, trying it.
There is no perfect too.
Yeah.
You'll keep finding the next thing that's not quite right.
And so...
speed kills too, you know.
Yeah. And it's just such a cool thing to, try and get your head around, because it works really well in life as well. And that's what I'm saying. It's weird, because I preach it to everyone. I'm like, come on, let's go, let's start.
So you're saying I'm intelligent. You're basically saying I'm intelligent. Thank you.
And when people come in and we tour them around the club and we try and get them started, and they're like, oh, no, I just want to wait till I'm back from holiday. And it's like, come on, no, like, you know, if you start now, like, what's the wait? You know, it's not going to be, like, coming back from holiday is not going to be the perfect time, or waiting till you've finished, you know, your night shifts and your on day shifts. That's not going to be like, let's just start now and do something. Let's just get something done.
20 minutes,
you know. Minutes. And so I like how that feeds into, you know, what I preach about fitness, as well as like we carry that through to our business.
Nice. Very great. That's a great lesson.
Thank you for teaching it to me.
Right, and
I'm not 100% sure if you
finished.
taught it to me or if you just were like, that's what you believe, and then somewhere along the line I caught on.
Oh, I probably taught it.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a great lesson. Yes.
What did you learn from me?
Podcast finished, I think. Yeah, so mine is interesting because mine is more on that the little things, like it comes back to values, which I originally thought I was quite big on, but it's like little things do matter. I think that's what I learned from you.
Yeah.
So I think we're quite different in the fact that like you're not really now, but you still are a bit of that as you like 100%. You're a 100% person and then do it, but do it at 100% and do it properly. Whereas I'm more of the ilk of being like, we'll do it 80% right because that's close enough for me to do it, and then it'll be sweet.
I always saw you as like a bigger picture, and then me as like finer details. Yeah. Which was really hard to run a business with someone who didn't see the little things, and I didn't see the big things. Yeah. Like I didn't see like further along. I could only see like, the finer things, the finer details in front of me.
But I think it's the biggest lesson I got from you is actually I was going to swear, that stuff does matter. Yeah. Like a little bit of dust on top of something, and I'll be like, I'll walk straight past it, or it doesn't really bother me. But then, obviously, how you do the little things reflects on how you do everything.
I'm twitching.
So
I'm twitching.
So the values of how you deal with the smaller things is how you should take that to everything you do. So, I mean, I think if we done it, either of us done this solo,
without each other, it could have been very different. Couldn't it?
Would be very different.
I'm interested to see how that would go. I think I would last 5 seconds because honestly, I didn't know the business side, and I always said that I was coming in like being an employee, I was literally the management, side, running a gym. I know that good, but if you talk to me about P&Ls and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know.
I guess I didn't really know that.
I would have learnt, of course,
eventually,
but it's preferable that I, don't have to.
That someone. It's probably the biggest. We do complement each other quite well in that respect. It has led to like plenty of blow-ups, but
not too many though. Right. I can't even remember. Like I probably couldn't count on my one hand how many.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is when we're setting up the gyms. That's a key one because, especially like with moving the equipment, that's probably my And you'll be like, I know, we'll move it there. That's not quite right.
I know, but you don't really see.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying. And I'll be like, well, it's close enough. Yeah. And you're like, no, it needs to be 2 centimetres is right.
I know. Some of our staff are going to be commenting on this, being like, hey, guys, I've actually seen this in person. Yeah. Emma knows where she wants the reception desk. It's very awkward.
Yeah. So I think, that's probably the biggest lesson. And probably... I guess it's not a lesson I've learned from you, but together we've learnt to kind of hopefully-ish more recently, like try and stay, trust the other person's got their role under control. That was pretty hard at the start.
I feel like we ironed that out quite quickly though, like within the first year. It was like done. This has to be how it is, because otherwise we're just going to keep going around in a circle. Yeah. And so we ironed that out very quickly, and obviously new things came about, but that was like the one thing you do your role, I do mine, and we just trust that each other knows each other. Because I'm like, was at the start like up in your grill, like, we don't need to, how are we going to pay these people, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I know how to do that side. Yeah. So you just do the gym running side. And
you didn't talk to me for 2 days because we spent $100 on a quiz night with the team. Remember?
Yeah. And I was like, how are we going to afford this? What do I get? And you building. Were all of, you've always been all about team building. You've been Lenny is very big on social culture at Fitzone.
Team building, man.
I feel like if it was just me running Fitzone, we would never do any like kind of going out for a drink or anything like that, because I'd be like, come on, let's go, guys. I'd be very intense. Lenny's all about the social culture of Fitzone.
So you got a spray for spending $100 on the quiz night. But that was also for the rescue helicopter. So
Oh, yeah.
in my head, I was just like, win-win. We're supporting the community. We're out there. We're in the community. She's there checking the accounts. Thank God you didn't check my personal one. Sweet. We got one more thing here. What was your? What was your favourite moment, or what's been your highlight?
Yeah. How you tell me you were going to ask me this, and I don't know.
What's happening?
It's been my favourite moment so far.
Favourite moment.
I don't know. Yeah, I honestly don't know. There's been so many like hard moments where it sort of ended after a big day in like a few tears, and then those end up being quite memorable because
emotionally charged.
when you look back, you're like, oh my gosh, that was so funny. But then there's been like really good days where you're like, holy shit, this is what it's about.
Probably at the each time we've taken over or opened a new one, like that's usually full on for a bit, and then when you actually open, that's like, whoa, that's crazy. Like you've gone from nothing to now there's a gym there, and people are using it to better their, to better their lives. So
I mean, the one thing that I do remember was with opening Mata Mata, it was like a very like soft opening. Like I didn't really want too many people to know about it because I wasn't 100% stoked with how it looked and everything, like, how it was. I just kind of wanted it to be very underwhelming and like, let's just see how we go, and then if it goes well, like then we'll tell people and blah blah blah. So I kind of kept that down low, and then when we went to open Te Aroha a year later, I was like, okay, this is okay, it's better.
Yeah.
But it was still a soft opening. I mean, we closed it that night after painting it, and then we opened it the next morning very like
we hadn't finished.
It was very chill.
We hadn't finished.
Yeah,
either.
we hadn't quite finished. So that was still a soft opening, but it was definitely like building. And then I remember when we went to Paeroa, I was like, Dan, this place looks slick. Like, let's have a party. So we got like, we did the whole thing. It was very loud. We told the town, blah, blah, blah. Like we had this huge big day, and we like sort of put it out on social media, went on the radio leading up to it. Like it was a very loud opening. And then with Waihi, it was like months leading up to it, we were hyping it up, like, and then it was a huge opening. So it was like every time it was just it's bigger and bigger, and we get more and more proud of what we produce.
You'd like to think we get better at it, hopefully.
But I also think as we go, it's not just us, right? At the start it was like kind of like just us, and then our family who we didn't give any money to whatsoever. They did it out of the kindness of their heart. But then as we've accumulated gyms, we've accumulated people and our support team and our crew that have come in and they want to help, and like all our staff, and everyone wants to be a part of it, and it's more exciting because we've accumulated people as we go, rather than just like you and me.
Yeah. It's probably the openings of each one. What else? Winning that business award was pretty cool that time. That was cool. I think just seeing we've had some amazing staff come through.
Yeah, and seeing them like
excel.
Success, yeah.
Even within the company who are still here, go from strength to strength.
And you watch them just get more and more confidence, Obviously, as we've said the whole time about Fitzone, it wasn't just about bringing a positive exercise experience to rural towns. It's about providing young people with jobs in the exercise industry that wouldn't have them if Fitzone wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it's about, giving these young people the opportunity to work in the best, in my opinion, the best industry in the world. And so then when they come in, they're very, it's very fresh for them because they haven't had that opportunity before. And then you see them grow, and it's just amazing. And then, sometimes they go on to the next thing, and sometimes they stay for ages, and either way is awesome. And it's just cool to see how far people have come. And then they also take that, fitness experience, I guess, that we've given them off into different directions, or some of them, possibly started without any real fitness passion as well. So, and then they just kind of get addicted.
Yeah. That's very cool. Growing people's awesome. Yeah, and just how much we've learned ourselves. Like this whole thing's just like we can build something really cool, but we've learned shitloads. I've learned a lot along the way, so it's like getting paid to learn.
Self-development too. Like I feel like I'm a completely different person.
Yeah, so it's about half an hour. Happy 6 years.
Yeah. Well, you asked that last question.
What was the last question? What was your favourite moment?
Past, present, future.
Oh, yes, sorry. Goals. What do you see in the future?
Yeah, I don't know.
You should have let me finish then.
I don't know. I want to keep growing for sure. We have to see what that looks like, but I want to offer more towns that incredible first exercise experience.
Yes.
Especially with young kids wanting to get into working out more and more with TikTok and things like that coming through. They're showing them that it's possible, and then I really want to have gyms in small towns that offer that experience, that first experience for people that they always look back on and be like, yeah, that was a really positive first experience, not like I swiped my tag and there was an empty gym kind of thing. So I want to do more, but we have to see.
Sweet. Need more grey hairs anyway.
Yeah.
Nah. Probably similar to what you said. Good to keep growing. Yeah. I mean, what do I see in the future? I would have said Warriors Premiership, but after last weekend, it's a bit hard to say. So, still say it. 2026 Warriors win the NRL. What other goals we got?
2026.
There won't be any more kids because...
One more kid?
No, I've already been snipped up. No more, not
One
even
more
possible.
Baby.
Not even possible. Yeah, but I think, what you said, to continue to grow would be cool, and to offer that experience to smaller communities that don't really get it. It's always awesome going into towns and then providing that for them. So
yeah, we'll see how
Right.
we go watch this space.
Alrighty. Thanks for joining in. There was another episode of the Fitzone Files, brought to you by, weirdly, Fitzone. They sponsor this. So, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Ka kite.
Ka kite anō. Peace. Nah.
That was good.